briefing of this mission. And as you know, fighter pilots, every mission starts with a clear flight plan. So if you were a flight plan, how would you describe your current heading?
Okay, I am heading towards a dream. Okay, that is the one to bring music in hotel in hospitality with my company, Music Charisma. Every journey starts with the first step, and the first step is the dream. Okay, you need to have the ambition to do that. So 2 years ago, we started to develop this software in the this platform. It was to me a journey where I started to learn more about language, about developers in general. And it's amazing because there is several challenge, like every flight, that you don't consider, several details that you need to take care of. But it's a learning process, and it's amazing because I'm learning so much. So I'm very good. Me and my team, we are learning a lot.
You're talking about learning, and you've been in the field of music for many years now.
25
years now. How was your liftoff? When did you decide to become an artist, and especially in music as a DJ?
I was very lucky. When I was 13, I was at school, and then I see the globe, okay, Mappamondo. And I noticed that Italy, where I come from, is small like that, okay? And then I noticed that I could barely see the Italy. Imagine the north part of Italy was not visible and my village was not visible. That's where I got the intuition to say, okay, I need to go and explore the world. But how I can do that? I'm just a guy of 11, 12 years old. And at the time, it was around year 2000, there was MTV, okay, this famous music television where there was a video clip. And I see these people, DJs, carrying on the records. Okay, there is a video in particular of a boy or girl from Chemical Brothers, where at the last, the guy, with the skeleton, and at the last, there is two guys entering in the cloud with records. So when I saw this, I saw, okay, these people somehow in UK, they get a job and they just carry records, because if I was a dentist, I could not travel. If I was a lawyer, maybe I could not travel. So I say, okay, I like the music. I really aim to meet a new culture and to explore new culture. So I decide to do that. So when I was 13, I start like this, and by 15, I went to work, and then I purchased my first console. I remember two CDJ100 and one Gemini 3-channel mixer. Why 3-channel? I asked to the guy, because it was cost much more. And the guy say, no, because you can attach something else. So I have the dream to purchase a turntable. And then when I was 17, I purchased first the record. And then 2 years after, I purchased the turntable. And this is the way I started. So this was my takeover. Even though I worked for 6 months without getting salary, I remember. And one of the most beautiful moments of my life is when this guy, 40 years old, he called me, told me, okay, this is your first 50.000 lire. That is now actual 25 euro.
Yes.
But it was amazing because it doubled the budget that I receive every week from my family. And then I can buy more records. That was amazing.
You were telling me in the background before, this is a story of resilience and will to get there, because at the beginning no one would believe you become a DJ, and your friends were doubting you, saying you're gonna end up working in a factory. And in reality, you worked in a factory for a while to earn the money that you needed for the consoles and everything. But when you were at the set, were you feeling the pressure of the audience? Were you feeling the pressure of the let's say changing the tracks and synchronizing the track, or was that a natural feeling that you had?
No, because I always dreamed to do that. And the trick here, it was never forget where you come from. Where I started, I was playing in the local pub, and they play at night for free. So when years after the people started paying me to do the music, I never forget, that, where I come from. So I never felt the pressure because it was my dream, It's like when you run, you want to become a Olympic athlete. You run, you have the dream of gold medal. So someday you don't feel the pressure when you run. It's actually, liberation. But the main point here is really a story of resilience, because back in the days, doing a DJ was not considered a job. I remember, 2001, the first real mainstream appearance was Tiesta, the Olympic Games, opening. But before 2001, DJ was not considering a job. Imagine, your daughter coming to you in 2007 and tell you, okay, when I want to become a YouTuber, or maybe your son tell you, I want to become a video gamer. You don't consider it a job, and especially, when the father and the mother, they put all the savings to make you study. Many people, they don't, they doubt, but resilience, because it's about at which point you can break, and somehow when the passion is so much intense, it carry on, so it let you make it develop your resistance.
Ivan, what is this?
Iki Kanso. Kanso significa semplicità. It means simplicity, Kanso, in Japanese. Is one of the 7 principles of Zen. Kanso, because when I tried to recreate this as a kid, okay? And to have everything plugged, simple, that with no distraction, because I always try to add things that I don't need. So this is, synthesizer on the left, some other things on the right, here digital things, and this is a hybrid setup. And this is
The famous tool.
the famous tool that I create without ChatGPT, and it looks good, So yeah, just arrived yesterday to complete my studio, so it's nice.
I think your story is a great story, yeah, about music. I lived those years. You were talking about, Chemical Brothers, and there was the music that I was following when I was a teenager. And then when I joined the Air Force, it was much more difficult to find music. I had the cassette, okay, and then the DVD came. But anyway, it's a great journey, and it's a journey about meaning and about Ikigai. The Japanese idea to find the point where what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can live from all come together. And I know we already spoke about this in private, but I know that this is really important for you, and this is the steering that you have now, the heading that you are following. Your AKA is Ikigai, written in IKI Guy, Guy, which is slightly different from the Ikigai
Yes.
Japanese. Tell us a little bit more about this story.
In 2000, before COVID, I realized one of my dream in my life to visit Japan for a month. And what I did, I studied 6 months. I read about the culture. I learned about Ikebana, I learned about Wabi-Sabi concept, and then I learned about Ikigai. And I really dive into it because it was kind of resonating with my personal story about this vision when I was 13 years old to becoming a DJ and to do not fail to becoming that, So to embrace completely what you're doing, to do what you love, okay? So living outside of my country since 15 years, I have a Russian name, and I spent 15 years with people asking me, are you from Serbia? Are you from Belarus? Because, my name sounds like Dimitri or Vladimir, there is no, So I thought better later than never. I need to choose my stage name. Actually, I'm working since 2 years on releasing my album. And my album, talking back about, that time, that childhood memory, it will have a kind of hardcover with, we're going to be written in gigantic letter, capital letter Ikigai in English, and the real, this one in Japanese, okay, underneath, because it's a statement, Ikigai. So I found actually there was a book around here that suddenly disappeared, but there is a book that is called The Structure of Iki, where somebody it take time to explore in Japanese the meaning of the word iki. Iki in Japanese means glamour, chic, cool, let's say, but not in an external way, but in an internal way. In Italian, can translate as a good guy or cool guy, but it's more about the spiritual level. So when something is does good to others, it's iki. So from there, I got the intuition to call it Ikigai. So
Okay, yeah.
because the main point is when you release music like a tree, I got a realization recently about that the tree does not release fruits for himself, but tree release fruits for other people. So the main ikigai that now I feel is okay. This album is an album that I'm going to do to please my ego and to prove to my parents or to my friends that I'm able to do that, or it's something that I want to really give to others in sign of thankfulness for what I received. That's why you're gonna have a big title like the Daft Punk in '97.
Yes.
It was my first album when I was young, and then so you're gonna be actually embroidered on denim, and then you're gonna have this. So I decided, to full embrace this. That's why I decided to keep this stage name about Ikigai.
It's a really great story of sharing. You come to a point where you have learned a lot and you want to share it and you want to continue and you love what you're doing because now you're sharing what you've learned. Okay. Jim Cook, you listen to his
Yeah.
podcast and it starts from learning, practicing, and then teaching others. And this is when you're mastering as well. All the knowledge that you have with you. So when you're teaching or when you're sharing at this point, really the Ikigai is gonna blossom, to
Yes.
say it in a Japanese way, right?
Before you ask me about the book, I read the book. I have respect for the author, but it's much more deeper, the Ikigai. There are two philosophies that I really embrace from Japanese philosophy. One is Wabi Sabi, because the story of Wabi Sabi it's about embracing imperfection. Now we're living in a society where everybody want to have Botox or looks amazing on social media. Meanwhile, the real value nowadays of the coming years coming, especially music, is vulnerability. The Wabi Sabi is about the beauty of the perfection of imperfection.
Yeah.
Your the white beard that you have
Yes.
is not something that you need to hide. In fact, one of the maximum example of Wabi Sabi is an older woman of all the
wrinkles.
wrinkles. The wrinkles is not something that you need to hide, but it's something that you need to, because in order to have these wrinkles, you see many springs. They say in Italy, So the time passing by, it's something to be worth, to be proud about, and then also the fact that life is challenging, and in order to reach your ikigai, to maintain your ikigai, you need to do a lot of effort. Like I always thought that pilot is cool, but the people like a DJ, they don't understand that you have a responsibility every day. When you wake up, your mind is you are under performance every day. You never stop performing. You cannot relax, especially if you are a flight pilot. Now I don't want to become the host and make you question to you,
It's okay.
but I think there is a lot of similarity between DJing and pilots, because somehow you are the peak of an iceberg of a team working. When I go in a club, it's not me on stage, bartenders, owner, security, and same there is a base on the field that
Yes,
is waiting for you to come back. You carry on
they prepare my stage.
yeah,
Effectively.
a vehicle that costs millions of dollars,
Yeah.
So, or like a commercial pilot that every day carry 500 people, Hey, insomma, it's something that require your ikigai. So,
Purpose.
do you have your ikigai?
Yeah.
Yes, of
Yes,
course.
of course. It's a profession that starts with Ikigai because you need to be aligned with your meaning and with the purpose. These two things, when I was talking with Amara Miles, author of Meaningful Work, are not the same thing. If you think about purpose, is the vision of what you're going to do, but the meaning is doing it with pleasure, doing it with satisfaction. Okay, when you start and you have a lot of meaning, you don't see the purpose, and then you try to line up joining the organization that is gonna teach you how to fly and everything, and then at the point when you leave the organization, like I'm doing as a civilian fighter pilot instructor now, my purpose and my meaning are lined up because I enjoy what I'm doing. After 20 years, I think is fair to do it. It's safe to do it, and it's a kind of a conclusion of a cycle. Okay, probably I will not fly forever. Okay, at some point I need to give up flying, but still I will have my meaningful will to share things, the knowledge that I have, these tools of fighter pilots are something that I've learned, and I truly believe that they are transferable to the civilian world, to entrepreneurship, to business, to life, to sport, and that's what I do with my athletes. I do use it's not really a military way, but it's some tools that I've learned throughout my career that are really applicable. So yeah, quite in Ikigai.
I love this thing. They just ask you the direction. I resonating with you a lot when you're saying this because there was a period of my life where you say, "Oh, what you do in life?" Many people, "What you do?" I
Yeah,
say, "I'm a DJ." Oh, wow! Nowadays there's not the same wow effect because computer can do for you. It's
yeah.
very easy to simple. I believe this happened to you as well. When you say, "Okay, what you doing?" Like, I'm a pilot. And me, I always, 1 month ago, I met a pilot and I make a joke to him. That which pilot you are? Go kart pilot? The guy say, "No, I'm a plane pilot." Yeah, I got it.
There was an old movie, the Italian movie
Yeah.
with Montesano,
No, which one?
that he was like, "Yeah, I'm a pilot," and he was the bus driver.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
But technically, you do the same thing. Taking a bus, okay, this is Airbus from Dubai to Malpensa. It's not difficult. It's the same. A bus from Milano to Turin or a small thing. So, but of course, what makes the difference, I believe, if we want to come back on the spiritual level, is the intention.
yeah, yeah,
Like we were
for
talking
sure.
about Simon Sinek. Why you doing it?
Yes, yes,
So I believe that in the moment I don't feel anymore the call to play for people, I will hang my headphone on the top, because I do that to receive back what I receive from the crowd. It's always an exchange.
yes.
I have a surprise for you. You will ask me, what is this? This is the Ivi Canso studio, but this is the cover that I received. Is going to be the cover of the album. So Ikigai, and then we want to make an album that is made in denim. Okay, so this is going to be called Buona Onda. Buona Onda is
Yes,
this is a laser print.
yeah,
So and it's very important that's why it's important because the reason to choose the name Ikigai is to bring this topic on top and to start conversation with other people. Not now the book make it a little bit more
yeah,
commercial,
yeah.
more common,
It's just probably creating a
an awareness.
localization and an interest in the thing, and then if you went deep into the Japanese culture, so better. Uh, I read the book and it was interesting, like
Yeah.
to know that people live longer because they have their ikigai, and the ikigai is they're doing what they love. They have interest. Even if you become older, you have friends, and you are giving priorities that are different sometimes in the modern world, because that it looks like an ancient world,
Yes.
when you went there, and
Yeah, me, I was lucky because I told you, my generation, it was on the edge of, I was the first generation to use Google. So I remember I need to use the mobile phone where you need to make the number. But now I use iPhone 17, with ChatGPT. So we see both worlds.
Yeah.
Even though it's important to keep this thing, I think it's a very contemporary topic because I'm aware, and that's why I have a gratitude journal that I write every day, where I'm aware that I'm a super lucky guy, that I'm entitled to follow my passion, because I'm aware that if many people they still searching for a direction.
Yeah,
And
sure.
this is something that, even though in a famous song from Franco Battiato, Magnus Galambro, that is a philosopher, is author of the song. He says that he's the most interesting people that he met in his life. At 30 years old, they don't know what to do about their life. At 40, it's the even more interesting people at 40, they don't know what to do about their life. So life is in constant change and evolution. So also, now we're living in a society where all the people that I met in Dubai, they're talking about, they use 5 words: plan, strategy. It's like, being on a war game, Sometimes not knowing what you're going to do in 2 months is good, Let's coming back on the topic of wabi sabi. sometimes, maybe get fired and reinvent yourself. It can be the best thing that can happen to you,
Yeah, reset.
because many people, they have, their life plan for the next 30 years. Okay, you are a daughter of this famous manufacturer, you're going to carry on the same thing, and this is what you're going to do until your retirement plan, and then maybe you're going to start to enjoy your life. But actually, it's fundamental to recognize that life is only now. When you realize that life, that you're healthy, and that you have two legs. I tell you a story that is amazing, out of the topic, if you wish. That is very interesting. 2 days ago, I was in Italy to record this song that is going to be the single of next year. It's called Chiuso per ferie, closed for vacation, famous sign. And I record, this is a reggae song, and I record with Ardi Mamensi. That is a guy that I met 15 years ago. This guy is from Albania, and then he's a blind guy. So he born without having the ability to see. And spending a day with him, it was a school. We talk about tools, because if you spend 6 hours with a person that is one of the person that enjoy more the life that I ever seen. He told me that once you realize this, that you are lucky, that you have legs, that you can, having legs, that the fact that I can see you now. We don't realize much we are lucky. So once you start from this conviction, then of course it's more easy to find your Ikigai, because the real life purpose of everybody is to be connected with the others and helping each other, and and really enjoy what you're doing, because it's an awareness about, did you realize that you can see me? Did you realize that now you can stand up on your legs? Because many people, you are an Iron Man, and this is I really respect you. Always this sense of performance, pilot. You need to destroy the entire. If you leave one plane on, you fail. Because these are the video game was teaching us.
Yes.
But at the same time, the fact that now you can drive your car, you can come back to your family. I think about.
Yes.
Yeah, I think this is, I believe, is the ultimate higher purpose. Is about to understand this. When you understand this,
Yeah.
okay, today they give you fine, like yesterday I
Yes,
took it.
You took it, yeah.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
So I believe
Thanks for sharing this gratitude feeling, and this story is really really interesting. Your point of view, and really I cannot not agree with you, because it's something like sometimes with the dynamics of the life and the speed of the life. No, you were talking about that book as well. We are running, and we lose sight of these things, but not because we are blind, because we just don't focus on the moment or enjoy the moment. We're always thinking about. But we think that in this way we create legacy, and I know you're feeling with Simon Sinek regarding the infinite way. It's the infinite game. Sorry, it's like that. You create legacy by thinking about that there are no specific rules like a game board. Life is so dynamic that you need to adapt and change, and that's why control the controllable. If you study, you prepare yourself, and you try to see all the aspects, and then what we are good at is adapting where the situations are not in accordance with what we expected, or in a race, in an Ironman, it's a 10 hours, 12 hours, 15 hours race.
how you can predict this.
Yeah, you cannot predict everything, the weather, and you don't have control on that. But if you have been practicing and running the marathon, training in the weather, in the heat, in the rain, then on race day, you have more chances, and you have created this how David Goggins calls this, this callous mind, where you can adapt and you can overcome challenges, let's say.
Amazing. Hope this podcast will not last 10, 11 hours like
Yes,
Iron Man, because
exactly.
I feel the empathy between us. So
We were sharing, and for the listeners that are looking at the podcast and listening right now, you need to push the subscribe button there and share it with your friends and put a like on it. Thank you very much.
yeah, also because it's a type of podcast where there are not boring people. that they come and they share their own experience. It's beautiful. There is a word that I love in English. It's called serendipity. The fact that you're searching for something, but then you're gonna end up searching something else.
Yeah.
It's like what happened when I go enter in a record shop. I enter, I know what I'm looking for. Like 3 days ago, I was in a record
Yeah.
shop. I was searching for, no, I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have this. Then there was a guy next to me told me, try to listen this. And this is amazing. So
You're searching for something and you find something
yes,
something else. That's amazing.
is
That's what happens to me many times when I go to a library and I'm looking for a specific book, and then we don't have this one and that. Especially in Italian libraries, you don't have that many books in English, because I like to read in English or in the language of the book as well. And then you find this one. Let me read this booklet. Like
yes, me, I'm not afraid about the new technology. I always dive into new technology, but I like a hybrid. Because nowadays I can easily say to ChatGPT, okay, so based on what I read, suggest me 10 books
Yeah.
good to read this year. But 2 days ago, 1 week ago, I was in Catania. After a nice run, I entered in Feltrinelli. I pick up my book. And then I asked the guy, can you suggest me something? And he told me, okay, the Premio Strega, okay, it's called Anniversario, about one guy that lived 15 years ago, the family, and now come back. And I buy blind this because, if somebody is willing to suggest you something, means that he put some energy into it. So I really like suggestion, organic suggestion, not based on algorithm or something like this. So what you're doing is amazing. And this is the way I found many times records that people ask me titles. I remember once we were in Singapore and my wife, she purchased records because based on the graphic. And I told my wife, no, you cannot, being judgmental, you cannot buy a records by the graphic. No, but me, I like the graphic. I come back at home after 1 week. I was playing this record, amazing, incredible Japanese jazz, I don't know, funk. And I told her, what is this? Amazing. Told me, you remember the book, the things. So now every time my wife she picked up a record by cover, I always be grateful because it's amazing.
I want to touch a topic we were discussing before. As fighter pilots, we fly information, so we want to keep the formation tight. We want to keep the formation. Formation is based on trust. So you are an husband, you are an entrepreneur, you are a DJ, you are an artist, but you said you are an artisan, right? How you keep your formation tight?
Allora, this is require a little bit more complex answer.
Context, yeah.
Yeah, I define myself an artisan because once I got the opportunity to collaborate with Massimo Bottura, one guy that I consider a mentor to me because it's a thinker, it's a philosopher. Massimo Bottura once says, a chef is much more than the sum of his recipe. I can adapt this to a pilot is much more than the number of his flights, or a DJ is much more than the sequence of his records. Okay. And Bottura explained that if you are an artist like Basquiat, you can paint whatever you want. Okay. But if you are an artisan, you have a duty. Like as a pilot. Wait a second. Insomma, come here. Wait a second. Vieni, amore. Wait a second. Okay. They always told me that this is il gatto dei cattivi. 007?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you are an artisan, you cannot do whatever you want. For instance, if I'm a carpenter, you come to me, you want a table. I need to deliver the table the way you want it. Filter with my contemporary mind. So by having this in mind that we are artisan, we serve the other people. So how I keep my flight formation together is by keeping in mind my ambition. My ambition, like a chef, like Jiro Ono that I mentioned before. Gino Ono is somebody that spent 60 years or more, in this little restaurant in Ginza, doing sushi every day, mastering the art of sushi. And sometimes when you see him, especially in the documentary, his eyes they're a little bit sad because he's thinking, you know what, I will never be able to find again the tuna that I found in the Japanese Sea of the 72. So same, so how you keep this
The heading.
the heading and your formation together with the ambition. I was reading about the concept of utopia. Many people found utopia not interesting as a topic, but utopia is the same meaningful things as the horizon. You do 2 steps ahead, and then the horizon it goes 2 steps ahead. You make 3 steps ahead, and the horizon make 3 steps ahead. So the meaning of utopia is to keep you to keep walking.
Mm.
So I think that the meaning the meaning of ambition is to keep developing yourself.
Yeah.
And we come back on the topic of Ikigai. So now, for instance, I have the utopia of the album, and even though I'm not a full scale musician, but I understood that I can delegate to other musicians, to other producers, to better engineering certain choice and co-working together. So by keeping together all this kind of aspect, I can keep moving forward. So by doing so, keep learning and keep developing personally and as a thing, especially in my company. The idea of accepting at my age the challenge to launching a startup. My wife, she told me this. She told me not to praise my ego, but she told me, did you realize that you are developing a platform, a music platform where you can organize playlists, where you can, make 24/7 music, you can generate potentially, 1,000 radio, one different to each other. So I believe that by quoting Tim Ferriss, you know, and quoting Ikigai, doing what you love, receiving love from what you're doing, and keep learning every day.
This is a great story of growth because, as humans, we shouldn't stop, and that's why, having this sense of direction, you are working on your growth consistently by challenging yourself, doing something that, let's say, is not you're not as accurate. As an artisan, you are still learning that skill. You want to do an album from scratch. You're not a musician, but you can delegate and find people that are gonna produce and gonna work on that one. That's definitely the story of growth. Sometimes we get stuck. It's like, "Oh, I cannot do that."
You can.
Yeah. I mean, I come from a background where, block by block, day by day, you learn, and you find a way to do something every day more difficult, something every day more challenging. Also because challenge is kind of the fire that helps us, be more productive. There are statistics of people that in the organization are challenged to do, are tasked to do things, and they are more productive. Okay. Not in a way that like, oh, you do this. No, in a way like, this is a difficult task, mate. Okay. Can you help me out? Can you try to do? Okay.
Beautiful topic, what you're talking about. So very.
Yeah. Let's talk a bit about, you know, in combat training. Um, the there are fights outside with the airplanes and stuff like this, but the bigger fights, as an instructor, I can see that they are internal because you have an idea on how to do the maneuver, but then to translate it in a practical thing is always a difficult thing. Okay. So when I talk to my students, I try to make them visualize what's going to happen, but the struggle is internal. The dogfight, the challenge is internal. So what has been your biggest turbulence in life or career, and how did you pull through?
I can answer to you what is by living in the moment. I will not tell you a turbulence of the past. I will tell you a contemporary turbulence. There is a big question how to keep myself relevant, because of course every year that I pass, I gain more knowledge in music, so I get more background and I put more information in my luggage. But at the same time, new generation are seeing the world in a different way. So, for instance, if now I need to play music for a 17 years old guy, most probably I will struggle to understand, which kind. Maybe they like Korean pop. I don't know. Maybe they like, you know, TikTok video just because of the 15-second things, So this is kind of a turbulence because, as a performer, you need to, it's not like, I would love to be like a pilot when they introduce myself, say, okay, today we are here with Ikigai, with Ivan Minuti, that he has 2,500 hours of playing music, so it's trusted pilot. It doesn't matter. I always define my profession as a builder of sandcastles. You have experience, you build beautiful sandcastles, and then the day after, a nice wave arrive, and you need to prove again your value to new crowd in a new beach. So this is the most challenging things to keep myself updated. And how you do that? By keep traveling with my eyes and my mind open, and then to absorb the things that I see. Now, for instance, I was in Catania. They have a fantastic festival, and I thought, okay, maybe I can start to developing a jazz festival here in Dubai. Maybe many people will tell me, look, the crowd is not ready, the market is not ready. But once again, you need to force yourself to trust in your vision and to look forward to manifest it. So again, it's again embracing the challenge. By the way, if there is a book that I can suggest, and it's called The Obstacle is the Way. So it's about the main concept. It's all about not trying to avoid it. Once many times in life you have an obstacle, you try to go in another road, okay? But you need to face the obstacle. You need to dive into the obstacle because only the obstacle will bring to the solution. So if you're looking for a solution in your life, let's say I want to bring a jazz festival, I need to fight. I need to face my obstacle,
Yeah.
the challenge, and try to create it. Then I will encounter fail. Then I will encounter difficulty, moment of sadness, moments of discomfort. But then only by pursuing this road, then you will enter in your results, and achieve what it was your ambition. So if I think it's a very predominant topic of nowadays. Nowadays we tend to avoid the zone of discomfort.
Yeah.
I stay. Why I need to risk? I stay here, safe. ChatGPT does things for me. But instead, for any profession, I think that wow, there is a challenge. Let me dive into it. What do you think about it as a pilot? I'm very curious
Yeah,
about.
no, I mean, when I hear you talking, this is really the story of my life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you tell me a little bit more?
Well, I mean, you started as an 18-year-old coming out of the high school and from a small village, and all of a sudden you are shipped to Naples. Can imagine the trauma.
The time.
The cultural trauma because you never taken the train for a long journey, for example, ever. So you're traveling now to Naples to join the airport, and now you are all of a sudden sleeping in a the barracks with other 8 people, and then you receiving orders which are not the orders that your mother was giving you, like clean up your bedroom and stuff like that.
Clean up your table.
Clean up your table, like it's not, put the Lego on. No, it's completely different. So that's the first challenge, and it's one of those things where uh, the book or opus of Trabucchi. I don't know if you know this story,
No.
but he's a therapist, a psychologist, and he helps people to climb. He's a climber and stuff like this. So it's like, where is the motivation coming from? No, and you are resonating your story because motivation comes from inside. Okay, motivation that is coming from outside, it's like the carrot and the stick. It's limited in terms of journey. Okay, it's valid for limited tasks. That's what the book says, but I totally agree. So for myself, in my story, I find myself to have to motivate myself consistently through the journey, because otherwise you don't grow and you don't achieve the standard, or you don't become what you want to become, fighter pilot and so on. So yeah, that's the main thing. So from the beginning, it's always a challenge, a challenge, a challenge. And the beauty of this, I think, is that people should never give up challenges. Okay, at some point, people are gonna sit and say, "Okay, no, I'm not gonna challenge myself." No, you find yourself challenging yourself until the moment that you die, and that's kind of Ikigai. You're challenging yourself in getting knowledge, or reading, or whatever is your
Overcome difficulties,
overcoming-
physical difficulty,
Yes,
mental
yes,
difficulties.
yes.
So
Nowadays, ooh, this is a topic I wanted to talk to you. We didn't agree about it before, but think about fighter pilots. We're always talking about, substitution with the AI technology. I don't mind, okay, until it's proven that it works well. I don't mind. But for example, in your field, okay, with your being founded on musicalism, now you are exploring the way that technology can get into our lives and make our lives better, more efficient, and more.
Simon Sinek. Okay,
Again.
why you do that? Okay, now we are the first company, I believe, in the world. Now I don't want to exaggerating for sure. There is other things,
Good.
but we are integrating AI in how we create playlists for hotels. So the main point, AI is gonna help us, not reducing cost, not doing things faster. The goal here as artisan is not doing things faster or making more volume. Because I decide to go with our direction in our company in bespoke music. So because I come from a background, I was working for Four Seasons 5 years as a director of entertainment. We have in common a very good friend, our friend Carlo, that is to me has always been a mentor. So the point is to deliver at a higher level. And in my DNA, I have the Italian DNA, the artistic. When I was in Catania 1 week ago, I entered in a cathedral. Certain paintings are there since 500 years because they are made in a certain precise way. Okay, so my goal is to help me with AI to help me to enhance the quality of my job. Because of course, if I need to do the job manually, so creating playlists for the test manually, it's gonna take me 1 week to make one radio. And while now with the system that we wrote and we coded, I can tell to my platform, hey, I want to make music for Tommaso restaurants or villa. Okay, Tommaso like classical. From 9 to 11, you make classical music. From 11 to 1, you make new jazz music. From 1 to 3, and then I can create a flow of music that is bespoke about it. Of course, the eyes will search for me, but then the implementation has always to be hybrid, okay? Because like a master, I need to enter, see the job that the AI did, and then overlooking and evaluate the job and maybe make variation. So I believe, like many doctors now they can operate without being on site with robot hands or something like that. So or maybe you use microscope to watch better. So you always a tool because many ideas nowadays, many people they always look shortcut. In the last 5 years, Bitcoin, okay, cryptocurrency, a shortcut to get rich without working. Okay, NFT, you sell a random image to shortcut to make money. Again, but the point is not making money even though you have a lot of money. The point is how you're going to spend your day with this money. Well, doing what? Doing something. Again, we're coming back on the topic of things. So now the AI will do the job for you. Like for me, can create playlist much easier comparing to. Remember, me I started 20 years ago when I need to download CDs, write title, and before me, people has vinyl that carry, one bag of vinyl is 50 kg, to carry under the sun. Is the sacrifice that add value to the story that you have to tell. When now I was in Catania and I listened Collettivo Immaginario playing and I talk with the artist and we exchange and then they sign my vinyl. When now I'm gonna go perform and put this vinyl on top, it will have a super energy. Different than, hey, ChatGPT, can you download a song from Collettivo Immaginario? Track, okay, get it. Play it for me. There is another effort into it. So coming back to the topic on how we are going to integrate this technology, I resonate. I understood the reason why I want to run the marathon. And do you want to know why?
Go ahead.
To run the marathon for all the people that cannot run. So this is gonna be my hire. Now I realize people that maybe is paralytic, So they cannot run it, but somehow because we are connected in a collective, in a higher collective consciousness, I will honor the people that feel. So maybe I will do 5 hour and 30 minutes marathon. But the point is not to run to please my ego. At the same time, but rather to do something for the community. Also, because if I don't participate to this marathon, the people that organize the marathon, they need to close up and search a job. AI. Now the goal is not to make more money to sell more radio to more hotels with AI. The ultimate goal is to use this tool to make better radio with higher quality to give to people that are in the hotel a better music to listen. So there'll always be a higher scope of doing that. But you don't need to praise, advertise this concept. You really need to believe into it, because I believe that when you have a motivation, everything is lighter. So for instance, if for real, I'm going to the marathon of 13th of December and I run for the people that have not left legs or is just injury, with this consciousness, I will have higher intention. Or when I work with AI, knowing that AI is there not to make shortcuts, but to help me to develop a better job where I'm pretty sure I will develop better music and most probably I will have more clients in the future.
Love it.
What do you think about it?
I love it. I love it. I don't know how it's gonna develop into my line of business. Obviously, I've seen the difference from flying an airplane that was pure physical, like the F-104 in 2000, and then flying Typhoon. You become much more a mission manager, let's say. So effectively, the technology is changing the way that you are flying fighter jets. And at the point when the AI will facilitate and speed up these processes, then you become not a mission manager, but a decision maker on top of everything. So flying will become easier probably, but managing the mission and deciding is gonna be the the clue of the flying, the military flying. And but I don't know. I really don't know because
Well, nobody knows, but again,
I mean, I can see the effects on many other things of AI, and you can see the effects of technology in many other things. But in my thing,
do
like
you want to know the reality of AI? Do you want to know what the people don't tell about reality? You try my stool upstairs, right, in the studio. I decide to custom because I went to the Apple store and they wait there for 10, 15 minutes and they noticed that this chair was very comfortable. I did my own research. It's an Italian brand, of course, made in Italy. It's called Cappellini. I always make confusion with Cappelletti. That is another thing that you eat at Christmas. Cappellini. So the stool is designed by Morrison. He's a designer. It's called Morrison stool. So I went online and they take the project from Cappellini and they put it inside AI and they told him, please analyze this and give me clear information to give to my carpenter in order that we can realize this. With this Spocchia, he told me you have to do this. But because me, I'm old school guy, I don't trust. You know what they did? Now don't laugh at me, eh? I went Apple Store, I'd be back 10 o'clock at the opening, and I went there with a meter.
not to buy iPhone.
No. I went to imagine this guy sitting down there, okay, with the meter. I start to take measurement of the stool. At a certain point, a security arrived, and I start to look suspicious. and then ChatGPT told me that the project was the depth, the width of the stool was 44 centimeter. Guess
What the
guess the width of the stool. The stool was 42.5. So because the ratio, again, I believe in manuality. Then for sure the technology will have. For sure, ChatGPT, they have a policy about you cannot copy. It's like I cannot take a project from Philip Stark. I cannot take what is the name of the plane that you fly?
The Typhoon.
I downloaded the CAD version of the
Yes,
food. ChatGPT,
build this.
can you 3D print a typhoon piece by piece? Yes, Ivan, gonna take a little bit of time, but we can do that.
Yeah.
For sure, there is a limit onto that. But the reality is, don't trust too much technology. You know, because you need to learn the skills. Back in the days, DJing with vinyl, they are a hero. There is vibration. I grew up with my maestro Claudio Coccoluto.
Oh my God.
It's my mentor. In the club, there is vibration. Everything vibrating loud. The spike on the records. You can move. You need to learn the skills to do that. If only rely on technology, right now, there's nothing wrong to play with sync button, okay? But without sync, then you are not able to do that. So my concern for the future generation is, yes, they're gonna use better technology, they're gonna think faster or whatever. I don't want to sound retrograde or boomer, but the reality is you need always to pass by a certain period of training. Because nowadays the future pilots they will say, why I need to learn this? Computer does for me.
It's something we discuss a lot, like flying with partial cockpit. So normally they fly with the head-up display. So this display that is giving all the information, and we're like, okay, just remove it and fly without. Yeah, but like I don't know. Try, because if it fails, it fails. And now how can you bring back the jet? So yeah, technology is always a good aid, but you train with the backup, especially in certain fields. And I think yours, of course, you need to be ready with the backup.
There is no backup for a DJ,
No,
there's no backup.
no, there's no backup.
There's no Houston, we have a problem.
No, yourself have another plan B. If something is not working, you have the playlist is not loading, then you have another.
Yes, I tell you my backup. I always carry another. For instance, I carry another jack for headphone.
Okay.
Anything can happen. If you miss in the audio chain, if you miss one thing, there's no output. However, there is something interesting that I would like to ask you. Because many people see pilot, there is bias towards, it's like DJs, you DJ, and many people say, so what you do in life, you press button. Technically, also the pilot press button.
Yes.
You go on a A380, and what you do, you press button, The people didn't understand that you worked 30 years to reach to press the right button, and you are confident in pressing button. For instance, one of the best interview that I saw in my entire life, podcast, is about this Italian astronaut. So this guy was a fighter pilot for many, many years. So because arriving to be a fighter pilot, it looked like an achievement. Okay, now I'm a fighter pilot. I don't go more up, but there is always room to improve.
Yeah.
In fact, you can improve and become an astronaut.
It's a different profession.
Can I make a joke?
Go ahead.
Even astronaut, they press a lot of buttons.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But coming back on the topic of the backup, you need to be trained. For sure, you have assistance from the base, but you need to know what to do if something go wrong, because maybe you risk to stay in the space for a long period of time.
You are the captain. You're the captain of your vessel. You're the captain of your airplane.
That's why I would like to explore with you, if you like, how you managing this type of pressure, because my type of job as a DJ, because music play 24/7, 365 days. You cannot fail 1 second. If music is missing in a hotel for 5 minutes, you receive 25 calls, because from the room service, not from the all day dining to the restaurant. Music can fade on 10th of March, but it can fade on 31st of December. So high responsibility. And DJing as well, when somebody hire you for your wedding, is you cannot repeat the wedding tomorrow because the DJ forget the USB card,
Yeah.
So I want to ask you how you manage pressure, and if you can tell a little bit more to me and to the people that are listening to it. There are many conditions that are difficult. You are up, the pressure, you cannot have a bad 5 minutes, But you say, no, today I don't feel good, I call sick, I come down. No.
You're right. It doesn't work like that. And the way it works is a building block. So you start slow, you start small, and then you build on that one. You need to consolidate that one, and then you build some more, build some more, build some more. Day by day, you are improving your performance. And obviously, because this is a high stake environment, there is also flight safety involved, and it's a life threatening environment. So at the point, you understand even more the importance of the five principles I told you before: be on time, be prepared, structure and checklist. Communication is one of the most overlooked, and control the controllable. These five principles, I can talk to any fighter pilot, and we all agree that these are the pillars for the flying activity, so that you have a safe flight, and so that your life is preserved, but also the life of the people that are around. When you start the aircraft, you have crew chiefs around. So if you do something stupid, you give too much power when you are going to taxi, you're gonna injure some of the people that are there. So it's really an environment where you are under pressure, but you are trained to face that kind of pressure. You are trained to with the mental tools, with mental schemes, with training, and it's something that is transferable. It's not something that only fighter pilots use. It's something that I can tell to an entrepreneur, or I can tell to a student. A student that is going to the university and is preparing for an exam. He's gonna be feeling under a lot of pressure, right? And then I can tell him, okay, this is the way that you manage pressure. All right.
How?
How? First of all, uh, task rehearsal. Okay. Apart from the preparation, if you do, everything starts from the learning, as Huberman says, start from the books. Okay. So start from exposure to the material. And then task rehearsal is the way to code your brain in order to have a situation presented, recall what you have studied, and act almost immediately. For example, in case of emergencies, there are certain emergencies that are bold phase. It means like you need to act immediately without even thinking about it. And there are just few lights that are gonna come up, and with those lights, you know what to do. You have a fire, you know what to do exactly. Okay, so you're coding yourself with task rehearsal. This is going to help for sure, a student, an athlete, an entrepreneur that is has to CEO that has to make a presentation. And so it's like it's not going to show up at the presentation unprepared or without rehearsing the speech or without. But these are high levels. What about the middle management, the team member? Same. Okay, you're going to be at the board, and you're going to be presenting for a CEO. You need to be prepared. You need to have task rehearsed so that when they ask you things, if they are outside your control, you're going to adapt. But if you have been rehearsing those things or those topics, for you, it's going to be natural to respond. So at some point, when you have control, you're able to control all the variables, you're lowering the level of stress, because at that point, you're proud, and you are, eager to show that I know how to manage this situation. I've seen this already. And this is important also for the young generations, because their database, what I tell my daughters, your database is very limited right now. So you're not exposed to certain situation, and it's normal for you to feel that kind of pressure, to feel that kind of stressful situation. Build your database with the experience, with your database with somebody that is mentoring you, somebody that is coaching you. Listen up to this. Use the AI to get information so that you are building your database. And at this point, you're able to face variables, and you're able to progress in your growth, and having your sense of direction much more defined. So task rehearsal is one of those things that is really important in terms of uh, reducing the stress, reducing the. I always tell these stories, but I was mentoring one guy that wanted to join the Air Force. So we did a session where I explained him how to sit at the table, preparing for the Italian written test. Okay, and I said to him, "Look, you're gonna find yourself in a room, like huge room. There're gonna be 100 people in this room. Okay, and you're gonna have your desk, and you're gonna have your paper there. You're gonna have your pen. Okay, so visualize this, because this is where you're gonna be. Okay, and so okay, good enough. Yeah, I can see that happening. So he went to do the test, and he called me back and said, "Yeah, dude, it was like this, you know." So expose yourself to what could be the situation where you're gonna have your challenge. And I read a study that was talking about, long-term challenge and short-term challenge, and sometimes long-term challenges, they bring you difficulties because they can give you depression because you cannot see the result, But short range challenges, which is the daily ones, okay, you can with visualization always be able to. And that's what I do. I go to fly. Let me visualize what I'm gonna do. Okay, yes, we're gonna go this and that. This is takeoff. We go to this airspace. Okay, we rejoin the formation. Blah, 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 blah. This then comes to another topic, if you want to expand, which is the what we've been doing today. Now we said we started with the briefing, the lift off, talk about execution, and then finally there is the debriefing. Okay, that's what's gonna be my next question to you. But the debriefing is the moment where you learn. Okay, when you've been running for 32 kilometers, when did you learn that you couldn't make it afterwards?
Correct.
So during the recovery, this is the moment that you make your fitness. During the debriefing, this is the moment that you learn your mistakes. Also, because when you are in the air, sometimes there are a few things that you're like, I didn't see this one happening, but now in the debriefing, I can see it and now I can fix it. Okay, so you're like, okay, this is my run today. This is the heart rate. Ooh, I started too fast. And here my cadence went down. Okay. At the end, during the recovery, now you're feeling your legs stiff and everything. Okay, let me get the protein shake to recover. And this is where you make your fitness. So the post-event moment, the debriefing, is always the moment that you learn. Okay. And that's the question for you. If you could leave our listeners with one principle you live by, what would it be?
Is a principle that is not really related to professionality, but it's more related to everyday life. It's kind of my motto that I learned when I was my experience during Four Seasons. When I read the book of the founder of Four Seasons, that actually, with the friend that we have in common, Mr. Carlos Tragiotto, he gifted to me before joining. It's one of the most beautiful book. And in the book, everybody asks, okay, how you start as a carpenter to Isidore Sharp, the founder of Four Seasons, and you built the most luxurious chain of hotel in the world, a miracle that now belong to Prince Al Walid and, the guy from Microsoft, Bill Gates, Cascade Holding. And thanks God, Isidore Sharp still alive. I believe he's 95, his wife as well, I believe. Even though the principle, he gave a simple answer and said, by following a golden rule. And the golden rule is treat the other like you would like to be treated. So I think that if you take care about every action you took daily with this principle in mind, well, it's difficult that something bad can happen to you. Of course, unlucky events can happen in life, and we are all exposed about it. But first of all, being aware of the people of your team, you're not alone in the desert. You work with team. You most probably the people editing this podcast, or the people correcting the audio, or the people publishing this podcast, or your wife, your friends, whatever. So if you live by this principle, this is what I learned, that if you are very committed to treat the other equally, because I learned something that in order to treat the others, okay, we need to follow a simple principle, the principle of the shirt. If now I make I attach the wrong button here, so all the following button they will be imprecise. But if if I start to treat first myself the way I would like to be treated, so by love myself, by feeding myself with what I want, then it's gonna be more easy to have good relation with other people. So I believe that you cannot be right with other people if you are not right to yourself. So first of all, you need to follow the basic by feed yourself the right way by sleeping the right amount of hour and training the right amount of things, or training the right amount of time. And at the same time, try to feed yourself with the right information. I really love the story of the database that you say, because many times I ask myself why I keep going to the gigs with 25,000 songs in my database. But I have more than 60 genre. Could happen that maybe he jump up a person and he tell me, "Hey, do you have a song from ABBA? I don't know." Yes, let me check. I have it. Or do you have, because there is nowadays, okay, you have Spotify thing. We don't play with Spotify. Many people think we play with YouTube or Spotify. You need to own the song, okay? But back in the days when you need to, there is a famous sentence in Italian, when you need to buy the records, you were not really thinking about being a DJ because it costs a lot of money, imagine right now an album is 35 euro, 40 euro just to maybe one on vinyl, okay? Back in the days, CDs, cassette, So it's important to have this database, like you say, preparation, because anything can happen. And then to coming back to the topic, feed yourself with the right information. And then, every day try to apply this principle, with the other all around you. So for instance, if you are like me, 41 years old, try to be kind with the people, maybe with the waiter that is 17 or maybe 17 now, but maybe it's 21 years old, he's just joined the company since a month, and try to respect everybody around you, and to treat people try to having nice words with the people surrounding you, and try to recognize, because I believe that a compliment is somehow is recognizing the others. For many years I deal with something that is called ego, because especially I believe pilots and DJ and whatever, this kind of solo performing act they deal with is inevitable. You need to rely, because ego is there to protect yourself. So sometimes when you do dog fighting, you need to have the ego to thinking I am better than this guy, because if not, you're not gonna coming back at all.
That's true.
So when I go on stage and I have 500, 1,000, 3,000 people in front of me, I need to think for 5 minutes. I gonna command and control and govern these people, But at the same time, being grounded and keeping yourself realistic, never forget where do you come from, and then doing the things that you love with passion and dedication, and rehearse every day in doing things in the simple way. I love another motto that is the simple the better. You're flying high with your you're flying high with your plane. Like me, sometimes I play loud music, but I think that coming back to sometimes taking a walk or having a nice conversation like we're having, and doing the simple things, and understanding that yes, even though we develop special skills, everybody, not me and you, everybody of us, sometimes keeping simple is the best thing that you can do. But coming back to your answer, if I can summarize my experience, is treat the other like you want to be treated. That's why I think I am a good music curator, because every time I go to play, I don't try to play to feed my ego with the music that I love, but I always look around and try to remember the golden rule that people work hard every week, and if they go out, they don't just want to listen to somebody loud or somebody that plays strange or weird music, but rather I try to give them 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours of relaxing time, where they can dance, where they can discover new music, and this is what keeps me alive. The mission that I have to serve the other with what I know I'm aware I believe I'm going to do. This is
Awesome. This is a Father Pilot line. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ivan, thank you very much for being here at the show. Really appreciate it.